So I think we're live, and I'll just wait for the notifications to come in on my phone.
Okay.
Okay, if you can see us or hear us, please let us know. Leave a comment. Let us know you can see or hear us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. Okay, so I just got notification for LinkedIn.
Okay.
Streaming is on to LinkedIn. Please leave a comment. Let's know you can see us. My guest today is Imole, and we're going to be talking about integrating into your professional path. Hi, Erica. Thank you. Erica from YouTube, thank you for letting us know you can see us. That's awesome. So we're going to be talking about reintegrating into your, professional path. And I think, of course, I think it's very relevant to immigrants, but also anyone really, because a lot of people, thank you, Jovita. Thank you for letting us know you can see and hear us. But a lot of people sometimes, mid-career, decide to make that switch.
Correct.
Or you move countries and you want to get back into what you were doing previously, and that's always a struggle, really. I also got to find that out when I moved to Canada, and I met a lot of people, especially from my country, Nigeria, but a lot of immigrants, Africa, Asia, and there was that struggle of getting back to what I was doing. I was an engineer back home. I was a project manager back home. I was an accountant back home. I was a HR professional back home. How do I get back into that professional path and not have to go start at the bottom, or have to go do a transitional or survival job, like they call it, for years before I can now go start off after dedicating 20 years, and becoming a senior financial analyst or a senior accountant, that kind of thing. Or an engineer, and having to go start from the bottom again and start from junior accountants, that kind of thing, right? So basically we're going to be talking and getting to understand more from your perspective as a HR professional and a change management consultant, and your experience so far, doing this back home and then here in Canada. So on that note, I'd like to welcome you to the Fireside Chat. And basically, I want you to introduce yourself to everyone listening and watching us today.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Eno. I really appreciate you for having me today. But more importantly, I appreciate you for your gusto, your courage, and your drive. I've been following you for a while, and it's quite impressive, really impressive, not quite impressive, that you have such energy and you're able to put it together in a concerted way, in a structured way, not just for your own betterment, but for the people,
Yeah.
Now it's like a giving back kind of thing, and it's a continuous process, right? So
Yeah.
I say great job to you. Okay, so my name is Imole, like Imoleayo Ashogbon, that's my name. I'm Nigerian, and okay, so I moved here in 2017. I was an HR manager back in Halogen Security. Now it's Avis. That's the biggest security company back in Nigeria. I was initially an HRBP for the regions, and cumulatively, I have about 11 years of HR experience. Started my career in food concepts, Chicken Republic, and just had that steady growth. And so, of course, I'm married, 2 kids, and I'm here. I currently work with G4S Aviation. I'm an HR advisor. I function as an HR journalist at the YVR. Of course, the YVR airport. So
that's the Vancouver airport.
Yes,
doesn't know that.
Yes, that's the Vancouver airport, and I used to live in Calgary. worked as an HR operations lead in a recruitment and consulting company in Calgary before I got this opportunity, and I moved down here. And I mean, that's what I do. That's in terms of what I do. I'm involved in a couple of side activities, some developmental activities. I get myself involved in certain groups.
Yeah.
I have an HR community, very vibrant HR community, and the idea is to give back, develop ourselves, create value, and give back. So,
Yeah.
and I have a passion for communications. I have a passion for teaching. I have a passion for taking up responsibilities. So I think that's just a description of me.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
very, very interesting description of you.
Yeah.
I know you used to live in Calgary, and then you
Yes.
got another opportunity outside Calgary, and you moved to Vancouver,
Mm-hmm.
BC. That's British Columbia, and
Right.
it was really sad that that you had to leave Calgary. I remember,
Yeah.
a couple of us, and people were thing is, I've never been a person, but I know we've been on the same group, which was a Calgary group for
Mm-hmm.
Nigerians, and in another group, someone had
Oh.
mentioned you. That's how I first got to know about you.
Okay.
So, someone says, "Oh, if you're in," it's another Calgary group, and someone says, "Oh, if you're, if you're new, you're in Calgary, and you're looking for, an opportunity, you're looking for a job, something to do, if you're struggling, talk to this person, right? It's fantastic, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Oh, that's nice, that's interesting." And then when I looked at the name, I went back into the other group and I saw, oh, this is the same person that's always posting this new job opportunities. And post email and phone number and saying, people call me, contact me. I have these openings available, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing, right? Because the truth is, it's actually rare to actually see people who go above and beyond to serve others and to help other people, right? It's something that sad to say, but there's not a lot of people that do that these days. So it's and spot those who are doing this. So thank you for the work that you do, how you've been able to serve the Nigerian community here, especially in Calgary. At least I know that firsthand. All right, so let's go let's go into the topic now, which is reintegrating into your professional path. So a lot of people, especially immigrants, they're really struggling with this. It's like I think the top two struggles that immigrants have is job and accommodation, right? So you have the accommodation settled, okay, now I want a job, right? And that seems to be the toughest part with the move. I mean, you go through the whole process, with the relocation, and it's not like it's a cheap thing. It's not.
Oh
cheap.
no.
It's cumbersome. It kind of takes a lot from you, and then you finally get this, and then you move here, and it's like, oh, this is not what I was promised. This is not heaven, right? That's how it feels for a lot of people, and a lot of people struggle through this. Some people are able to share and say, hey, guys, I'm looking for an opportunity. I'm a project manager. I'm an accountant. If there's any opportunity, I'll appreciate the referral. Anything you can do. Someone review my resume. But some people, are silent and they don't struggle with these things.
Sure.
When it comes to into your professional path as a professional relocating, what are the top things you found that are the struggles that people face with reintegration?
Okay, so I mean, there are quite a lot of things people face. Some of which you've mentioned. But I think I want to address it first from a perspective, and that is to say that a whole lot of immigrants sometimes we come in with this mindset that I'm coming to start from the scratch. Now, so you have different school of thoughts. You have some school of thoughts where they come in and they feel that immediately I'm coming in, I should be able to get a job. It's Canada. I should be able to get my job. I should be able to get a job in the field, in the same level I am, and earn a lot of money. And just, and they come with that kind of mindset. Then you have another school of thought who come with a mindset based on whatever they've heard or their assumption that I'm coming to start from the scratch, right? I'm coming to start all over, and so you find that most times people come in and they are disappointed. So the first thing I always like to say is, coming in, it's important we have this mindset. And first mindset we should have is that we're not coming to start from the beginning. We're not coming to start from the scratch. Canada needs immigrants. You understand? It's a drive. It's a strategy, and they are very strategic about their approach, about the class of people they are targeting, the quality of education they require. I mean, there was a research carried out, and they discovered that in 1971, they discovered that the ratio to the working population ratio to retirees or potential retirement ratio was 7-1, and they projected that in 2035 it's going to be 2-1. So it's important they do something. The economy of Canada is really is vibrant based on the vibrancy is largely based on 75% of level vibrancy is based on immigrants. So what I'm trying to say is that Canada needs immigrants, and they are wise about their strategy, right? But there is a way to go about it, right? And based on your question, the two major challenge they face is those assumptions, and then those assumptions and expectation, and when we come in, we realize that it is not that way, and then a lot of us get discouraged. A lot of people sink into, and that's what I'll say, sink into a phase that's supposed to be a transitional phase for them, and some people get stuck in that phase. You understand? So I think the first critical thing is the mindset, is the orientation that you have about coming into a new land and how to navigate the waters. I think that's because when the mindset is corrected or is aligned, every other thing that happens to you is part of the journey. Right? You see it as part of the process. And those are some of the things we'll be talking about here today. You know, what are the processes? What are the journey? What are the expectations, and how do you navigate certain things? So I think I like to say from there, because people's experiences are quite different. You know, so you can apply it to all. At the block level, yes, getting a job, accommodation, settling down. But going deep into the context of our conversation is the mindset. That's what I'll say.
So it starts with the mindset, right? So what I've come to find is when people ask me questions, oh, you're in Canada, I want to move. What are the things that I'm like? First of all, I have the right mindset. I found that the people who had the mindset of I'm going to hustle there, any way in a way, like Nigerians say, any which way, anyhow, we go rough, anyhow, we're going to get at it, right? When you have that kind of mindset, you find that that's kind of the path you're going to follow with struggling. But when you have the mindset that I have the value, with all my years of experience and my knowledge, I'm going there to go continue delivering this kind of value. I have years of experience, working in the number one security company in Nigeria, and I'm going to Canada to continue practicing as a HR professional. Not saying when I get there, anyhow, right? I'll survive. I'll take care of my family. I'll do whatever it takes.
And I think you just spoke to it right now, and that's a critical thing, right? And it comes first and foremost from your own interpretation of the value you carry. Believe you me, Canada brought you here because of the value, and you have been able to show that value at a higher level through your education, your experience, your finances, your health status. Through all of these things, they've evaluated us and say, you guys come here and add value. So I think that is very critical. Howbeit, there is a way to the city, right? There is a process to go about it, but the mindset becomes a fundamental guide as you navigate. You understand? The mindset keeps you in check, and it helps you to view things from a very balanced perspective. So that's the very critical thing. Yes, of course, we'll talk about a whole lot of other things. So getting a job in Canada, okay, let me just allow you, ask your questions. But the mindset is a critical thing,
It is critical. So So if someone has, that positive mindset, and then they arrive, what are some key things that they should do in regards to this reintegration process? What are some key things, that should be done to make sure the reintegration is done successfully?
Okay, awesome. Now, so already they have the mindset. There are few things that is important as you come in. Well, I want to believe that before you come in, that's for immigrants who are even not yet to be here or they're coming in. This is key for you. You need to do a lot of research, right? And your research, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Your research must stem around two elements. Number one, the geographical factor, and then number two, your industry factors, industry elements, right? So when I say geographical factors, so for instance, if you're in a certain profession, you're an IT professional, or you are a finance person, right? Every city has a space for you, right? But there are certain cities that has a higher volume, of certain kind of jobs because of the dominance of the kind of corporation that is there, because of the kind of industry that is dominant in there. And either you like it or yes, Canada is shared. Canada is diversified in those subcategorization, right? So you need to understand that, hey, which city has a simple element is what I do and what I did and I still do constantly is, for instance, check unemployment rates, right? And based on city, that can be a guide to you. You know that, for instance, British Columbia has a lower unemployment rate compared to Yukon or Nunavut, or compared to Saskatchewan or even Alberta. So you want to do those comparisons. Those are factors. But now you are here. Now you're here. First things first. After you've settled the accommodation and all of that, first things first, you need to network. Now, networking is on two levels. The first level of networking is you need, and I'll put it this way, you need a circle or you need a support structure that understands your unique needs and understand where you're coming from. So, for instance, the Nigerian Calgary group that you've mentioned, that group has been a tremendous blessing to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's a support structure.
Yeah.
Some of us have attended, chosen certain churches. There's been a lot of blessing. There's been a lot of support, right? So you need to be very strategic about the kind of support, that societal support structure you create for yourself, and it is a deliberate thing. So I've seen people who come with the mindset, no, I don't want to associate with this. This is Canada. I want to be this. I want to be. I understand that line of thinking. However, certain people have gone ahead of you. They know the land. They know how things are done. They know how to navigate, right? And so it's important you identify those communities. I call it a community and those groups, and
Yeah.
identify with them, right? Because they make things a bit easy for you. So while you're doing this, yes, so as a professional, number one, from Canada's resume style is different,
True.
right? So you want to really understand my resume. Um, how do I modify it? There are a lot of platforms for that. There are a lot of institutions, or there are a lot of even organizations the government has put in place to help you with search. You need to identify that and get your resume in place. Speaking about resume, you don't need your resume. You don't need to have one resume. It depends on your kind of work. It's okay to have multiple resumes, have two
Yeah.
or three resumes, because it is important you know that flexibility is key in Canada.
Yes.
Not that there is a distrust to the level of experience you bring on board or you're bringing with you, but you must understand that there is one thing for you to have experience and competences. There's another thing for you to be able to align. The culture fit is important. And so those are some of the sharp edges you want to put in place. And it comes sometimes even from how you ensure you align your resume to speak into what they want. You understand? So that resume piece is something that is very important. Get professionals to get your resume done. 85% of companies in Canada, they use the ATS system, the automatic tracking system. In other words, your resume must have a form, a format, a structure if you want to be selected for most professional jobs. You understand? Get that in
Yeah.
place. Then another thing I know that is very important is that flexibility in your mind. Now, Now, most of us don't get our
most of us.
professional job immediately will come, right? I mean, research shows that it's only about 72% of immigrants that gets their dream job or professional job within the first 5 years of arrival. That is an established research from
Wow.
from
5 years.
yes, it's only about 72%
Wow.
that are able to
Wow.
get back into their field, right? And well, you might say 72% is not a low score, but I mean, that means there's still about 28% of people who have not gotten back into their field, and they said 5 years margin. So it is important for you to know that flexibility is key, and flexibility here means that um, you don't have to be dogmatic about I was an HR manager, I was a project manager. Once I come in, I want to be a project manager. I want to come in as it doesn't always work that way, right? It doesn't work that way. There's something we call foot in the door, right?
Yeah.
There are various ways to get your foot in the door, but getting your foot in the door is as important as getting as your dream job or your desired job, because I tell people the key elements missing. One of the key elements missing. There are two key elements missing, or two key elements that needs to be sharpened when it comes to getting your job from an employer's perspective. Number one, most Canadian organizations they don't readily accept our foreign education. They recognize it that you have it, but you observe that Canadian education is more valued by many Canadian organizations. So first thing I'll say to you, you need to identify your field or identify the industry you are and what is the prerequisite or what is required education that I need that will help me level up. You understand? Some of us have master's degree, some have just a first degree, but you're a PR, you're a project management person, you're a finance person. Every industry has a body, a registered body, a
Body.
certification body. You come in, you must identify that, and begin the process.
Key.
That is so key. You can't afford to just say, yes, I have a certification in my country, I have that. No, thank God for your country, but yeah, you're in Canada. There is a body that regulates professionals in this field. For me, it's CPHR. For you, you have your own. Engineers have their own. Doctors have. Every professional body has their own.
Yeah.
So while being flexible, you need to do that and get yourself registered. And Canada is also a country that appreciates certifications, and diplomas, programs, certifications. It's valuable, right? So you must be able to invest. You must know that investing in education is as critical as anything. You understand? You must invest. I mean, taking you for an example, see all of your certifications and all of that. That's a lot.
I just like to read. Don't mind me, please.
Yes, you like to read, but you see, what you're essentially doing, is that you're showing the employer that I have experience, but I also have a clear understanding of how things run here. Believe you me, Canada is different from every other country.
True.
Legislation here is different.
Yeah.
How things are done and interpreted is different.
Yeah.
I have 10 years HR experience, 15 years banking experience. When you come to Canada, you need to unlearn certain things, unlearn how it is done here.
True.
You understand? And that is the trust element. So somebody asked me in a program I was recently that the Canadian experience, how do we bridge the gap? I don't have Canadian experience, but these are part of things that you can do to really bridge the gap. Number one is get education.
Yeah.
You understand? And please get the right education. I've seen people who, on the beat of just getting education, they just do certain things. Some of these colleges are, they promote themselves to you, and you just pick a course. No, any program, any course, any diploma or certificate program you do must align. Must align with your profession or your desired direction.
Yeah.
You see, that's the beauty of coming here. You are able, you're allowed to switch and build a new career path.
True.
You understand? So that education piece is so important, and it's an investment that we must see as investment. Now, answering that question, which is Canadian work experience. How do I do that? There are a few pathways. And the first pathway I say to you is through volunteering.
Volunteering, yeah.
Yes, volunteering is as important as anything. In 2017, Canada evaluated the volunteering hours into their economy and they saw the value. The volunteering hours in 2017 was 2 billion hours
Wow.
was given back. And that constituted 2.5% of the country's GDP, $59 billion in
Wow.
2017. In other words, the country recognizes the worth and the value of volunteering. The
Yeah.
employers, they understand the value of volunteering and the impact of volunteering. So when I came, I of course, I didn't get the job immediately. I worked, I did transitional job, and that's something we should talk about, right? But while I was doing the transitional job, I was working a 4-day shift. 2 days out of my 3 days off, I was volunteering downtown Calgary.
Mm.
I was volunteering and I've been applying. I didn't get traction, but immediately I put that volunteering opportunity or platform on my resume, I started getting some traction.
Yeah.
So we must see volunteering as a critical pathway to getting into the job market. We must see it and be deliberate about it. And somebody says, oh, I've tried. There are a lot of platforms to volunteer. Volunteering even in a local assembly is even recognized. That's a platform.
Yes, for sure.
There are a lot of NGOs out there who need you as volunteers. So volunteering too is another very important thing that we must be willing to do while we are reintegrating. Yes, it is free, but I've seen the result volunteering delivers. So you have to see it as a payment forward. You know what I mean?
Yes,
As an investment forward.
for sure.
And that definitely positions you, getting back into the system. And another thing is something I said before, another thing in getting that job, when you keep talking about work experiences, be flexible enough to settle to be flexible enough to pick a role that is, in quotes, beneath you. You understand? That is critical. What I find is that in Canada, there is dignity in labor. At least that's one thing I find and I promote and I say every time, there's dignity in labor. You can't afford to feel somebody's watching you or feel downgraded because you're doing this job or because you're doing that, you're getting that.
I
Oh,
was a
yes.
I was a senior manager.
Yes, I was a senior
Director.
manager.
I was a
Yeah.
VP.
Yes.
Whole
Yes.
country. So I should become the VP here as well.
Oh, no. Oh, no. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And I tell people, somebody was asking me while I was working as a recruiter, that why is it hard for me to get a job in my level? I have the experience, I have the certification and all of that. And one thing I found out and I told the person is one singular factor, and it's called trust.
Exactly.
Right? And let me put it in context to you. The employer recognizes the impact and the input of you as an immigrant and the value you're able to bring. But the employer needs to also be sure that when you come in, you will be a good fit. You would align to the existing culture. You will not cause a huge disruption. In Canada, anything can cause an issue for you in the workplace. Even asking the wrong questions, can lead to litigation against the company. I learned that strongly here as an HR professional,
Yeah.
right? I mean, so the employer must be able to be confident enough to know that you've had some interaction, you've had some engagement with the system and the culture, and that would put some level of comfort or some level of assurance that this person will be able to navigate when we put those responsibilities in. So trust is the key. They know that you're intelligent and they know you have something to offer. But can they trust that you'll be able to do it in the way that is expected to be done and with innovatively? You understand? And volunteering helps with that strongly. Getting your certifications or getting education you're required in your field helps with that. You understand? And picking up lower jobs, not necessarily a level, also help with that, because immediately you get in, you've created a platform to prove yourself.
Yeah.
And that is very critical.
Wow, you've touched on some amazing points, and these are the things that I tell people. I say people say, "Oh, I'm waiting for my PPR, or I just got my CPA." PR, which is my confirmation of permanent residence, or I
Mm-hmm.
just got my visa, or I'm waiting for my passport request.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. I tell
Yeah.
people from the moment you decide, the
Yeah.
moment you decide to relocate,
Mm-hmm.
that's where the work starts.
Believe you me.
Because a lot of people, it was when they arrived, they're like, oh
That. Oh,
wow,
yes.
now I need to have my CPA, or I need to write
Mm,
CSC
mm,
certification for banking, or I need
mm.
APEGA for
Yeah.
engineering, right?
Mm,
Or I need my CBAP for business
mm.
analysis, or PMP for project
Yeah.
management, or
Mm,
Scrum Master. What
yeah.
is Scrum? Like, so once you make that decision, you start with doing
Go
your
to work.
research.
Correct.
What is required?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be a federal candidate, what
Mm.
city am I going to settle in?
Yeah.
What are the laws in Alberta, in
Correct.
Ontario,
Yes.
right? What's the employment rate? When it comes to my, I found there's CPH out there, CRHP.
Yes. Ontario
So
and the rest of
Ontario,
Canada.
right? So these are the
Yeah.
things you need to start making this this research, asking questions, connecting with people who are already here. Hello, Mr. Imole. I'm a HR professional. I'm based in Lagos. I'm moving to Canada. I'm going to be settling in BC. I know you live in BC. I would really like you to just share a few tips with me on how to start preparing for my move.
Yeah.
Because you should start before you even land. Arrive
It
prepared.
makes
Because that's the only way
makes it
that
easy.
you don't get hit with what a lot of people get hit with, the shock, right? The
Yeah.
culture shock, right?
Yes.
And being overwhelmed with all the things that you have to do. So like you said, networking is so
Mm.
key. Getting the right certifications, and a lot of these you can even start, you can start before
Before
you
you move.
yeah,
Correct.
become a member of these associations, these regulatory bodies, because
Mm.
they are for every job role, for every industry,
Yes.
there's a body, an organization. Become a member,
Mm-hmm.
join their meeting, subscribe to their newsletter,
Yeah.
right? Introduce yourself to their board, right? To
Mm.
the president, to the vice president. Let them
Mm-hmm.
know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You start from there to start building your network, right? And then, of course, be polite and don't be asking people for jobs. I get that on my LinkedIn inbox. Can you please say I need a job? I need a job offer to relocate. That's really not how to do things, right?
No.
When you network and let people know, the value you offer. When
For
you tell me,
yes.
I'm a human resource professional with 10 years of experience working
Mm.
in the largest security company in Nigeria, you have my
Mm.
ears,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
saying, I need a job, right? And you
Yeah.
have my ears. And at
Mm.
that point in time, I was like, okay, let's have a coffee chat. Here's my
Yes.
number. Let's
Mm.
talk, right? And
Yeah.
that's how you start. So I really love those points you've made,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then,
Mm.
even if you were a VP or a senior manager,
Yeah.
right? You still have experience in that field, and you're able to get a job in that field, the same
Yeah.
field ticket.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of immigrants move here, and why? So what happened? You were fortunate to get some interviews. Well, I asked them for 150,000 because I checked
I
online, and I
see.
thought that's what is some of my years of
Yeah,
experience.
I've seen that.
I'm
And I'll say
like,
something
okay.
about that. Go
I'm
ahead.
like, okay, seriously,
Yes.
you really want to
You
become a
wanna.
director?
So let me tell you. So research shows that immigrants are paid 7% less than citizens and people, and that is not a rub off. If I want to put it in context, right? Because if you're paid 7% less than every other person, first and foremost, you have the opportunity already to be in your field. You can expect to earn like everybody who has been in the system, who has invested in the system, who has grown in the system, and begin to be at par with them immediately. Somebody might say, "Oh well, what you are offering the same value." No, you need to be balanced in your thinking. Number one, this is not your country, right? You are the one coming here to give value, and let time allow you. You understand? Afford you.
Time
Now,
and
yes, time and chance. Let it afford you that opportunity, right? And I tell you, employers are very aware of the value immigrants bring to the
of
system.
course they are.
They are very aware, but they are also watching. And speaking to what you just said, um, I'll talk about one critical aspect we need to take very seriously also as immigrants. Don't reach out to people and ask them for jobs, right? In your networking piece. Don't do that. Most times that puts people off. I get that a lot on my LinkedIn. I get that a lot. And I try to be magnanimous enough to respond. When I see, I respond, and I kind of put a little guidance there and I say, I think you should do this and do that. You understand? But you see, don't go that route. It's not always the best route. But I'll tell you another secret that has helped me and I want to share. And it's called mentorship, mentoring. Believe you me, it is as critical as anything. In the networking, Canada is designed such that you don't have nepotism being a factor here, right? You have a lot of employers bringing people for the value, the competencies they've shown or they're showing, and you're really tested and all of that. But either we like it or yes, referral is a strong element in the talent space.
Yeah.
Referral is a very strong factor. And even as an HR person, if Eno sends me, say, I have this right, and I say, Imole, I have this person is this and this and that. I have 50% assurance because this person being referred by Eno to me.
Yeah.
I have 50% confidence that, oh, thank you, I have a potential candidate.
Right?
Yes. And I said mentorship because that is something we need. Get into the system and find mentors. Find people who have navigated the path you're passing and are doing it currently. When I came in Calgary, I joined CRIAC. It's a body in Calgary.
Yes.
I don't know if you heard it. Oh, yes, you're a mentor in CRIAC. They wrote me also to be a mentor, but I'd moved then. And, but they still constantly communicate with me. CRIAC was a fantastic structured system that created platform for mentorship. Right. Yeah. Now, you one thing you must know about having a mentor is that your mentor is not meant to find a job for you. And that's one thing you should know. Mentorship and mentee relationship, it's a relationship, it's a process. You have to groom it. Yeah. Once you discover an individual who is in your field, who's gone through the path and excelling where they are, and they are willing to become your mentor, you must understand that it's a relationship that requires the right investments. Yeah. Right. I had a structured mentor for 3 months. And we're having that session and back and forth. After we finished, she was still my mentor. Yeah. Because there was a lot to learn. HR in Nigeria is quite different. There's dynamics different. And I got an HR job, send her an email, give her a call. Please, I need help with this. I need perspective on this. And it was tremendous. Allowed me to make sound decisions. And that was the help. But somebody will say, well, I need this mentor because I need a job. No. You don't need this mentor because you need a job. You need this mentor as a platform, right? It's like you sitting on the shoulder of a giant. You see far ahead. Yeah. You need this mentor as a guardian. You need this mentor to guide you. You need this mentor to invest in you in a healthy way. Most times, your mentors, they always remember you when opportunities show up. Because of the healthy relationship, they look out for you. Yes. You understand? They know you need the job, but you're not going there with the mindset that you need to get me a job. It's not their responsibility. So it's important you know the value of mentors. I know, for instance, I know you have a structured platform where you mentor people, and I think I shared with you. I sent to a friend, he's in the US right now, and he's planning to come to Canada, and is coming into your field. I said, oh, this lady is doing this in a structured way. I know she has value to offer. Link up with her. This is her link. Look out for people. It's important that you do your research. Look out for people in your field. Exactly. Don't be shy to reach out to them. Don't be shy to ask for help.
Why do people struggle with this? Like asking for help. I made a post about this one, and I said the people that ask for help are not weak. They're strong because you know that you need the help and you need the support.
Yes.
Strong people are able to ask for help. When you feel like you know it all, or you feel like you're too shy, like that's when you struggle in silence.
No,
you know, I spend about 10 hours a week in coaching and mentorship because I have coaches and mentors for everything. Because I have goals, and that I want to achieve, and I know there are people that have done it in no time, and they can help me achieve it the fastest. Yes. People say, "How are you able to do all these things? How are you able?" because I have people that guide me, right?
That's
I don't make some decisions without asking my mentors and my coaches.
yes.
Right. So when people try to, struggle through this without seeking help, oh, I don't want this guy, I don't want Imole to know I'm struggling with this.
Oh
I don't want
no.
Ed to know this is my struggle. Oh no, that's not how you
No.
get help. There's always someone ahead of you, regardless of your position.
Exactly. And it's critical we recognize that. I
Yeah.
have a mentor. I have people that I guide, and people that I help on a weekly basis. But I have a mentor that I have a scheduled call with her once every 2 weeks or once every 3 weeks. She's a senior person. I meet with her. She gives me a task. She gives me assignments. She asks me questions. I bring things to her constantly, right? And that is very key. And for you transitioning, you know that somebody has gone ahead.
Exactly.
And this is a new space. And let me respond to this, because somebody asked also, so how do I get mentors? Okay, there are 2 ways to get mentors for me. And the first things first is there are structured organizations who are into things like that.
Yeah.
Right? It's for us to identify it. You know what? I play with Google a lot. Google anything. If you're steadfast in your research, it will link you to something viable.
Yeah.
Just consistently look out for those organizations and those people. Yeah. And the second thing is there are also people like Eno who have put a structure in place for mentorship. So for instance, I don't have that structure in place, but I mentor people regularly. I have platforms where I've formed and is thriving. People do a lot of referrals. Talk to Imole every week, and I mentor and guide people, right? So you always have things like that. But there are people like Eno who is more structured, and reach out to them. People in your field, reach out to them. Don't be shy. And the third approach I'll say is LinkedIn is a fantastic platform.
Awesome. I love
LinkedIn is a fantastic platform. And I say to people, use LinkedIn to your advantage. Ensure you have a great profile, right? But beyond that, reach out to people. So Canada is beyond COVID, pre-COVID, and maybe post-COVID. Canada is a country that when people buy into you, they don't have to know you from anywhere. But they just like your approach, they like your person. They are open to having coffee with you.
Well, sure, definitely.
It's not hard. It's not
I used to joke about it, and I used to say when I arrived Canada, I was a serial coffee meetup
person. I was too.
The day after I arrived, I was with people for coffee every day, and then that's why I can tell you like all the variants of coffee. And then I decided the French vanilla for Tim Hortons was my best.
Yeah,
right.
Tim Hortons was my best, and it's still my best.
And but the truth is, I started using LinkedIn because I knew I was arriving Canada in a couple of months. I started connecting with people in the field I wanted to be, which was business analysis, right?
Yes.
I started connecting with people who are BAs here. However, I looked at people who had arrived in the past 5 years, people who had non-traditional backgrounds like me, people who have been able to grow, maybe from BA to senior BA to directors, and I see that
I want to relate.
So I started connecting with these people. I wasn't asking. I never asked for anyone for a job, but I'll just like to have a chat with you. Get your perspectives and just introduce myself to you. And any tips you can share with me, I'll be grateful. Right?
Yeah.
So, meet up for coffee. In fact, the first time I went downtown Calgary was because I had a coffee meetup, and I was meeting up with coffee for the people who are business analysts, recruiters, directors, and in 1 week, I stepped my foot into like all the buildings in that downtown Calgary, meeting up with people.
Your own I must say your own energy level is another level.
Because it's an informational session, and I'm not there to to talk about myself. I tell you about myself, but I want to know more about you. Learn from your journey. Ask you, the lessons you've learned so far. What would be your advice for someone like me, your experience? And I kind of drew from everything they told me. And I think that's why, in no time I was able to scale through, get my first job in about 2 weeks or so. And people were like, how come you just went? I'm like, well, I'm riding on the shoulders of giants.
Absolutely.
I'm looking for people who can help me, who can guide me, that I can ask questions and say, oh, I have an interview. How do I answer this question? What do I say? This is what I was asked. How can I answer this question better?
Yeah.
right? Because the truth is, interviews are done differently here.
Oh,
I think my
yes.
first interview here was crap, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I was used to the way interviews were done in Nigeria. I
Done.
went there
Yeah.
unprepared for those
Yeah.
behavioral questions.
Yeah.
I was stuttering. And then when I went back to, we work, and I'm like, okay, so I guess there's something I have to do right with
Yeah.
interviews. And, learning from people and then investing in myself. So what I also find about, the environment here is that the environment awards people who invest in themselves. People,
Yes.
it awards people who are, intellectually sound, people who have gone above and beyond to sort of stand out in whatever profession, regardless of what you do, whether you're in
Yes.
medicine or HR or IT, regardless, the people who have gone above and beyond are always awarded, and the society in general sort of
Mm.
awards them somehow, either in
Yes.
their career, by
Mm.
recognition, whatever it
Yeah.
is,
I
right?
I, 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 I agree with you 101%, And but you see, I like to say this that it's important we see this trying to reintegrate. It's important you see the process as a job itself. It's important you take it seriously and tenaciously. You understand? Because sometimes, I mean, talking just brushing past the issue of survival jobs and all of that, it's okay to do survival jobs. It pays the bills. It's important. But it's critical you're clear in your head that this is just a means to an end. I tell people this is just a passing phase. I tell people, please don't pick any job that would take all your energy, strength, and time. Don't be. So sometimes I find some people be in that rush where they want to, by all means, work 6 days a week and quickly buy a house and all of that. I believe in me, I have people like that. I know people like that. And that's the mindset. I say, well, I mean, for certain people, that's probably okay for you. You probably don't want to build a career as it were. You want to get these material things sorted first. And I respect your decision and your choice. But the truth about it is, survival jobs are just physical jobs. They are
Yeah,
transient jobs. We are not brought into this country for survival.
yeah,
We must be careful. The concept of rat race is a Western concept. So you can be in Canada and really join the rat race. Don't get it wrong. We can be in Canada and realize that we literally live from paycheck to paycheck.
of course.
So that mindset must be clear that how do you move? How do you add value to yourself? And like you said, this society rewards you when you invest in yourself. It's as critical, it's as important as that. Once you make effort and you put efforts in place, you get reward. The program I did, my organization, they didn't initiate it, I started it, but they supported me, right? Because they've seen that I am investing in that, and that is
Yeah,
value. And a whole lot, I've seen a lot of people get recognition, get award for studying it, get those things that are good, but those things are just the open one. There's a lot of recognition that is not spoken, and
exactly.
you would see. So it's important, that reintegrating itself is a job on its own.
Itself
You
and
have to, oh God, you have to put all the effort and all the energy that it requires and it
tired.
desires. Let me quickly say something about getting mentors. Reach out, be structured, and and be structured and be smart about how you reach out to these people. Reach out to as many people as you can, and don't be disappointed when you get no's or when you don't get response
Oh
from
yeah,
certain people,
totally.
especially on LinkedIn. It's important we tell ourselves that
Of
some
course.
some people are neglecting you. Some people are not neglecting you. They don't have a response. Some people are not neglecting you. They are observing. Some people are not neglecting you. They'll circle back to you later. Do you understand? But you don't stop. You don't stop.
Do
You don't
not.
stop. No, no, no. You can't stop. You might not be as lucky as I know. And in the first week, you go to five,
Oh,
10
I don't see how
coffee.
many people I reached out to that gave me that opportunity to speak with them.
Yes, but saying it this way,
Over
some people will
100
feel,
or something.
oh, some people will feel is
No,
oh no, it's
no,
not
even
always is.
today, there are people that will still not respond to you, and that's okay.
That's okay. And that's one thing we need to know. Somebody reached
That's
out to me and said I've sent a message, I've sent an email. This person not even acknowledged, I'll not reach out to the person. Say, calm down, it's not done that way. People's time is very important here. You can't determine people's time for them.
Yeah.
They will get back to you. And if they don't get back to you, it's okay. It's okay for you to move on to other people. It's okay for you to consistently do what you need to do. But it's not okay for you to be discouraged and stay there. Some people are
Yeah.
discouraged, I tell you. They are really discouraged. They've tried, earning crappy
Yeah,
salary.
I mean, a lot of people who are, they've applied for a few jobs, no interviews, this doesn't work, blah, 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 and they're hitting their
Oh,
head on the wall. I'm like, no,
I know.
you see someone,
Oh.
saying, oh, I got the job, oh, congratulations. You don't know how many applications that person
And
has done, how many
I have a
interviews,
munch.
how many outreach
I have
messages.
munched my Indeed platform. I kid you
Mm.
not. I applied 606 times
Oh,
before I got my job.
That's just Indeed. Right?
Yes, that's just that. Thank you. And that's not the direct application. So I need to put that out there so that you know that it's not a friend. A friend, she's been here for a month and she's applied maybe like 13 times. She's feeling discouraged.
You just started. You
just started, and it's important. The earlier you make peace with this, the
Exactly.
better you are. And please let me say this: last year alone, Canada brought in 330,000 immigrants. Last year alone, the year before is about 303,000 immigrants, and is about 75% of them are professionals. 76% are professionals. In other words, and what I'm trying to say now is becoming competitive. You're not the only one in the market looking for a job. You're not the only immigrants. You have Indians. You have Chinese people who are educated, who are experienced.
Yeah.
You have Nigerians. So you need to understand that, the employer, the recruiter gets a lot of applications for people like us, who are new immigrants. So it's a game of numbers as well.
Yeah,
Having getting your facts right, your resume fantastic, education, your sitting experience, your volunteering experience, having gotten all of those things right, your right networking, you need to be tenacious.
Exactly. That tenacity is so key. I remember when I read people were like, you don't sleep. I'm like, well, my body clock is, upside down right now. So might as well take advantage of it. And I found, because in the night time I was awake because of jet lag. And I was using the opportunity because, of course, you see, postings as they come, you apply immediately. So you're one of the first people. And I was taking the opportunity to apply online, apply on Indeed, LinkedIn. At the time, I'd applied for over 500 roles on LinkedIn. Definitely. But be dogged and tenacious. I know what I want to achieve. And don't rely on one source. You use you use
Monster,
right? You do direct application on company websites. You use referrals for some. Your networking. I tell people, I say it's a full-time job. When you wake up in the morning, you shower, you have your breakfast, you come to your office. That's your laptop, and you sit down there. You schedule your time. And you schedule your time.
I told this to someone, she didn't believe it. I said, that's the truth, right?
12 to 2 is for this. This time is for networking. I tell people, I say, you're a job seeker and you're not on LinkedIn. I'm not looking for a job, but I get job requests almost every day on LinkedIn. I open my feed and I see roles every day. And I take these roles and I post them on WhatsApp groups. These are the opportunities, apply, right? People don't leverage all these things that they have. Basically, but people want things to be so easy. It should just happen because it happened for this person like this. But you really don't know this person's story.
Tail behind. You don't know the tail.
The story behind these things.
Yes.
But the truth is, once you've been able to go past this, get that opportunity, even though that first job is not the dream job, leverage that experience, embrace the learning there, and then the next one will be better. I know someone who was saying, I have all this, blah, blah, blah. I have that. I've been IT for years. I'm like, listen, you're not the only qualified, IT professional right now.
Correct.
Right? So when
there's
you have an opportunity, you start with an intermediate level, which is around 65 to 70K, which is good. It's going to take care of you and your family's needs now. Right? Your wife has gotten a job. You take this. Right. And I can assure you that in less than a year, you're going to get your desired salary because I know you deserve more than 100K. Now, this person, took this role, did it for about a year. And then, in fact, 3 months after, he was like, do you know something that I don't know? I'm like, yes, I've been here longer than you.
Yes.
First, from companies in America, in Canada, right now, this person earns about $113 per hour. in Canada.
Yes.
It's all about grabbing what you have right now, leveraging it, doing a good job at it, but don't just stop there. Continuously invest in yourself, improve on yourself, and trust me, these opportunities will come at you. You'll be
Absolutely.
overwhelmed. You'll be overwhelmed.
Absolutely.
I have recruiters reach out to me every day from the US, from Canada. I'm like, I'm not looking for a job.
A job.
I don't have a profile, saying on LinkedIn saying I'm open to work. But the truth is, companies are looking for people who they see have invested in themselves.
Yeah.
They have value that they can offer, right? And they're saying, well, just get on the phone with us. I just want to introduce my clients. I'm like, I'm not interested.
No.
But, it takes a while to build up. And it's all those things that we're talking about. Getting coaches, getting the right education and certification, putting in the work, having the right mindset too. So key. Now let's talk about something that's very key. So we talked about, the process and getting in. Well, I find something that a lot of immigrants struggle with, and that's the culture in itself. And I've heard stories, I don't know anybody in my network who has experienced it, but I've heard stories about people who lost their jobs because they were not the right culture fit, with regards to their environment. And you talked about this briefly, but I want you to really talk about this because I know you've experienced this as a HR professional, where immigrants, come into the organization, and because they don't really understand the Canadian culture, their integration process,
it's difficult.
It's difficult. It's not seamless because they probably lose that job. Or I've seen people that I believe maybe because of they were in a good culture fit, they didn't get those roles, not because they didn't have the certifications. Maybe they did. They had a great resume, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about that part. The culture part is where I think people struggle the most with.
Yes. Okay. So that's true. And thanks for that question. Yes, I've seen people lose their job because they were not a culture fit. So there are two angles. I'll first start from the organizational angle. So some organizations have a very strong induction process, a strong onboarding process.
Yeah.
Their recruitment process is strong. Their onboarding process is strong. And so because of that, they get almost the best fit, the right fit. While some don't, they take care of the face value in terms of, maybe you were able to impress the recruiter for any reason, or maybe your resume, or even some certifications that you have here, and then you come in, and then they bring you on board. And then when you come in, you realize that it's a different ballgame. Now, from the talent perspective, from the employee perspective, if these organizations that don't have these strong processes in place are the ones that really lose people because of that.
Yeah.
However, the reason why this happens to people is because, number one, you've not taken your time to learn the culture of the organization. It is important that you unlearn certain things when you come into a new environment. You have to unlearn how it is done in your own environment and be patient enough to see how it is done in these environments. Sometimes even as simple as language. Now, if for our viewers who are not who your English is not as sharp, right? Or maybe English is your first language, or English is not your first language.
Yeah.
First things first, it's critical that you sharpen your English. It came a point that I had to constantly go in on YouTube and listen to how to talk, listen to pronunciations, listen to expectations in a workplace in terms of how to speak and how to and early stage it happened where certain people didn't hear me clearly, but I can't remember the last time anybody said, "What did you say?" Because they can't hear me. Because I put effort in speaking clearly as much as possible. You don't speak with everybody speaks with an accent. You're not a Canadian, right? So definitely anything you're saying has an accent. You can't correct that. You can't fake that. But what you can do is you can be clear in your communication, in your conversation, in your pronunciation, and you must be deliberate about it. But the real cultural element is that brings about people losing their jobs is not being patient enough to learn how things are done. You understand? Not being patient enough. So you understand? You can't send emails. The way you send email back home is not the way you send emails here. The way you construct certain things is different. You need to learn it. There's certain culture from our countries that is not offensive, but here it could be offensive. You must understand it. There's certain expressions that is guided here. You must learn it, right? And then be careful not to join office politics and all of that. Those things put people in trouble. You are there to add value. I have a boss who is also an immigrant, and he's a great guy. We have a good relationship. One of these days we were talking, and he said that immigrants, we need to put double effort in our job.
For
You
sure.
understand? And you need to understand that your colleagues are closing at this time, or they are putting certain things over and doing it easily. You know, you don't necessarily need to join that. Get things done the way it should be done. Learn it, learn what is expected, and align yourself to it. And when you don't err in words, then you're a perfect person. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's critical that you just take your time, listen, watch, learn, and observe. Observe and learn. And the final thing, one thing I would like to say regards that again is the fact that um, having certifications or education is one thing, but the capacity to translate it and deliver on the job within the system is also another thing, right?
Mm,
So some people just get this certificate just to have it, but they not truly learn. So when they get the job, it's difficult. You understand? We experience that at different level, but don't just sit on that confidence that I have this certificate and I have this job. Go an extra mile to study, go an
yeah.
extra mile to learn. I'm doing some letters. I'm having some union meetings. I'm interpreting certain things. I go online. I constantly check.
Exactly.
What does
Exactly.
legislation say about this? What is this case and scenario? How's the best way to interact it? Call a
Yeah.
friend. Talk to somebody. That way you are enriched. You're well-rounded.
Did.
You
Yeah.
understand, in your approach to dealing with the situation. You're not
Yeah.
just jumping on it on how it is done back home or where you're coming
Yeah.
from, and you
Yeah.
now push that and this is how it should be done. You're going to shoot yourself in the leg. And some organizations are very magnanimous enough. Some bosses are good enough to guide you and teach you, while some are not necessarily.
Yeah.
So it's important you understand that. And the final thing I'll say on that is understand that diversity must be learned. The concept of diversity is not a one-sided thing, right? The fact that there's open doors for you to come in as an immigrant, either from Asia or Africa or wherever you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a responsibility of learning that or putting that in place by the organization. There's also a responsibility of you being open
Yeah.
to other people, other culture. You learning what is acceptable and what is
Mm,
not acceptable, within the workspace.
space.
You
Yeah.
understand? It's important we learn that, and that goes a long way to deal with the culture shock or cultural barriers.
Yes.
You know,
Yes, for sure. And the
yes,
truth is, like you said, the onus is on you to go ahead to take up some learning. Go on
yeah,
Google, doing some research. YouTube is
yes.
fantastic. Before I moved here, I binge watched Lionel Roche's videos.
La
Lionel
Roche.
LaRoche. He has this yeah, he has this YouTube series on the Canadian culture, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what he does right now. He's a consultant and he helps companies with Canadian workplace culture. And I learned a lot about the Canadian workplace culture and really understood how Canadians think, what's required of me
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
workplace. So you could definitely look at that, and then even for yourself,
Mm.
your own learning, workplace culture, how to speak,
Yeah.
right?
How
Your
to speak.
presence, your
Yes.
courage, and all these things. You can. There's LinkedIn Learning. There's Linda. There's YouTube. You can learn all these
Yes.
things because here, the interview process and what they're looking for is less of the technical things and learn skills here,
Yes.
but it's the
Absolutely.
behavior, the
Behavior.
competences.
Yeah.
They want to know, how you handle conflict, how you resolve problems, how you
Yes.
work with a
Yeah.
team, those kind of things, how you can address issues with clients and
Mm-hmm.
customers or senior
Mm-hmm.
management. That's really what
It's
they're
critical.
looking out for,
Yeah.
because everything else, with regards to processes and
Mm.
skills, all those things can be learned.
Yes.
But we can't, we can't exactly teach you on how to be professional, right? We can't teach you on how to be respectful. We can't do
We
that.
can't
So
we can't at all. My boss
yeah,
my boss says recruit for attitude, train for competences, recruit for attitude, train for technical expertise. So you always recruit based on attitude,
Attitude,
right?
yeah.
And on the job, you learn every other thing you need to learn.
Of course, definitely.
Yes, or you
Definitely.
will learn every other thing you need to learn. As long as you have the right attitude, you have the foundation, the education.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yeah.
is something critical.
And something I tell a lot of immigrants is what I find with organizations, there's this maturity with regards to processes, with onboarding, with HR. You go through training, where you can go through training videos, take
Yes.
exercises, learn about the culture of the organization, learn about the tools they
Yes.
use. And you definitely would also have to shadow someone for a while, so you learn how it's done before you're now given opportunity to say, okay, start doing this,
Yeah.
and then start getting your hands dirty somewhat,
Mm-hmm.
right? So focus on, how can I be a good culture fit for this organization, right? Research the
Yeah.
organizations. Don't just go for an interview because you want to get a job. It's clear to the interviewer that you're not prepared because you're not even speaking like them.
Mm-hmm.
Every organization is unique in its own way,
Mm-hmm.
right? They have their own processes and tools that they use.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own lingo, right? There are
Yes,
some
they have
things
their
that
own
are
lingo.
of value to the organization.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to their website, their LinkedIn, their
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, their blogs, you will see all this information about the organization. And when you're speaking at the interview, you already sound like one of them,
Correct.
right? And you're referring to the things that you've learned so far about them. And they see you as someone who is perfect for that role,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, all these things are how you can sort of, blend in, reintegrate. And something I just wanted to touch on is, like Imole said, is the community that you engage yourself in. He talked about the power of community and support, which is key.
Mm-hmm.
You also want to make sure that you have the right people around you, because a lot of
Absolutely.
people have fallen into bad advice when people advise them wrongly.
Mm.
You have
Oh
people that
yes.
because they came here and they started doing nursing, they tell you should do nursing. That's everything you should do, or
That's a major one.
yeah, you must do nursing. Another one I hear now is cybersecurity. This is
Yes.
what I'm doing. This is what you should do. That's what's
Yes.
paying here. It's not a matter of
Yes.
that's what's paying here. You
No.
want to look at yourself. What are my goals, right? What are the things that align with
My passion.
my competencies, my passion, right?
Yeah.
So align yourself with the people who are in the same path with you,
Correct.
right? If I'm looking for someone who wants advice regards to HR, I know, okay, Imole is there. I'm looking for someone with regards to engineering. I'll go to you, LinkedIn, and look for immigrants, who probably come from the same culture or
Yes.
country that have walked that path and can guide me on how to integrate into the engineering industry here, right? You don't want to start taking advice from everybody and anybody because you
You
get
don't.
confused. So that's why
You
when
don't.
you know your path, you know where you're going, it's really, really easy for you to reintegrate. Oh my God, this has really been awesome. It's really
Yeah.
been awesome, Imole. And we had a lot of comments. Thank you so much for the people, who have been commenting. And somebody asked, how does one access volunteering? That was a question from someone. How does one
Okay.
access volunteering?
Okay, well, I think I tried to address, but let me say again. Now, there are various organizations that are open to volunteers. More often than not, the NGOs, right?
Yeah, yeah,
A lot of them,
yeah.
they are very open to. And every city has an arm of the city that's, create platforms for new immigrants who wants to
Grants, yeah.
volunteer. You
Yeah.
understand? So I'll advise you streamline using, the non-for-profit organizations around. You can just use Google non-for-profit around that focuses on this or focuses on that. That is key. Then also, you're also allowed to volunteer in your local assembly. So if you're a Christian or you're a Muslim, you're an Hindu, whatever religion you belong to, as long as they have an existing society and they are serving, you can decide to volunteer there. And anything you do, except if no matter the profession you are into, there's a space for you where you're able to bring a fragment or a part of your expertise
Yeah.
into or to the table. That's something that's another key thing. Then also sometimes you can just also reach out to schools, to universities, right? There are universities or colleges around. Depends on your field. You can reach out to them, write to them that you're new in and you'd like to volunteer in this capacity.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of them are able to refer you. You understand? Some are able to refer you if they're not able to take you as a volunteer. And then startups. That is key. A
Yes.
lot of startups are looking for volunteers. It's critical you don't see it as them wanting to use you. Because when you come into a system like this, that volunteering is key, you must understand the mindset. And the mindset is you're giving back. You understand? Giving back to create more value.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of startups there,
And even professional organizations, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot professional organizations, but sometimes professional organizations are a bit careful with volunteering.
Yeah.
Some of them are a bit careful with getting volunteers, except is maybe some department they just need volunteers to do certain things, and
Yeah.
sometimes some of them even give you stipends.
Yeah.
But startups, which are organizations as well, a lot
Yeah.
of them always use volunteers.
Volunteers. Yeah.
So those are different platforms where you can get volunteers. Just get
Yeah.
busy and start searching
Yeah.
and start reaching out. Now, let me tell you one of the tricks you can do. Once you find an organization, even in your job search, you find an application put out there. It might not be on LinkedIn. It might be on any platform. Go on LinkedIn. Look for the leaders in that organization, right? It's possible they're your second or your third connection, and reach out to them.
Yeah.
If they're your direct connection, let them know you're interested in this role. You understand? So those are also strategies you can use to get some of this either volunteering or even your real jobs. Because
Yeah.
sometimes just reaching out to them directly, some of them take a second look at your profile.
Exactly. Exactly. And I tell people, I say, if you see a role on LinkedIn, sometimes LinkedIn will show you who posted that role. So who's the hiring manager? So
Correct.
you've gone ahead to apply, and you can send a message. Hi, John. I applied for this role, and let them know. And then when they see your resume, they remember. Even if they don't reply, when they see your resume, they remember that you sent a message.
Very
Right?
true. Even if they
So
don't reply or respond, it stays
yes,
in their head that they saw this
yes,
face, and it makes
exactly.
them look again.
Yeah, so they give you, they give you a second look, again. All right, awesome. It's been an amazing time. Thank you so much, Imole. I mean, we've learned a lot from you. You shared a lot from your experience, and I know that you're super passionate about this. I just want to say thank you on
Can't seem
behalf
to
of
hear you.
myself. Really? Oh, because I lost you for a minute there. You're muted. You need to unmute yourself. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I
For
think
some
I
reason,
lost.
I can't hear you.
Uh-oh. I lost you there for a minute.
Okay. Maybe I'm going to leave the studio now and I'll come back in. Is that okay?
Okay, sure. So thank you everyone, who joined us. Interesting, comments here. Yes, yes, Shalakwe, very engaging. It's nice to talk about these things that, that sort of apply to a lot of us with regards to, relocation, getting back into our professional paths. Thank you, Shalakwe. I appreciate that. Shegun as well. Yes, thank you. Awesome conversation. Yeah, Muisi, nice to have you here. It's been a great time. Imole, are you here? Are you
Yes,
back?
I'm here. I'm back.
Can you hear me? Okay, awesome. All right, fantastic. I was just extending my gratitude to the people who have said, it's been amazing. Muisi, Shegun, Sholape, very engaged, very welcome everyone. Rome, Charity says, comment from Charity a while ago.
Fantastic.
Let me see if I can still find it. Okay. Truly resourceful and impactful and all encompassing. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. So I hope you guys have learned a few things from us sharing our experiences, based on integrating into your professional path. It is possible. If you're able to take the steps, apply all these things that you've gotten today. It means you are asking about an avenue to learn about Canadian workplace culture. So you could use YouTube for now once you arrive. If you're in Canada already, if you're not, there's a lot of immigrant centers that you could go to if you want to take those courses there. But you can as well take it online as well. So even before you arrive, you can take it online. So do some search. You should find some information there as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So last words. So I can let you get back to your very busy day, Imole, before we leave the studio.
Okay, well, I mean, I just say big thank you for bringing me on today. I feel very honored. I must say you're doing a very great job. It's very admirable, and just keep going and keep doing this. Some of us will be doing it from behind in the way we can. I also understand the concept of timing, right? I mean, you just must know that everything is beautiful in its own time. So,
exactly.
So when you have the energy and all of that to do that, and you have the, some of us have just got back to school again, so we have to. But so I say you're doing a very great job, and to our people out there who are listening, or who have been a part of us, thank you for being a part of us. I just like you to know that you were brought here for value. Nobody is to be left out. There's so much in this land, right? There's so much opportunity.
So many opportunities.
So much. You might not come and pick it on the tree or on the floor, in the proverbial way people think. You don't pick money on the floor. But once you get it, so research here shows that immigrants between 8 who have been here between 5 and 10 years, you have unemployment rate amongst them is just 8%. People who have been here 10 years above is 5%. And new immigrant between 1 and 5 is 13%, right?
Wow.
Yeah, so there's still that disparity, which is understandable because there's a reintegration time period. There is a learning period. There's an understanding, which is very understandable. So that should just give you some assurance that, hey, I am going to get there. As long as you don't lose focus. It's important. Don't lose focus. Don't lose direction. And keep learning. Please, it's so important. Yeah. You have to keep learning.
Always.
That is an investment that would always pay off.
Exactly.
You understand? Keep learning. The system rewards it. It's I know that firsthand. I mean, oh God, I can't tell you. I know that firsthand.
Exactly.
My wife is 10, 12, 15 hours studying every day because of our own profession, our own career. And it might not be an easy time, but it's a transition process.
Exactly.
And that's one thing you must know. It shouldn't always be like that. It's going to change, but let's put in the work, right? We chose to come to this country from wherever. Comfortable doing what we're doing. We chose to come to this place.
Yeah.
Let's just be ready to pay the price. And at the end of the day, we all have reasons to be fulfilled, and to see the value pay off.
Definitely.
So that's just why I say, please don't give up. Don't stop. Don't give up. Don't stop. Don't give up. Keep pushing. You're gonna get it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Wow, thank you so much, Imole. You've shared some really, really great tips. We had a very interesting conversation. And if you don't the live session, you can definitely watch the replay. If you're watching from LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, you can go back and watch the replay. So start from the beginning and learn everything, and grasp everything. If you need to take notes, you can. So we talked about, leveraging, the community, getting the right certifications and education, having the right mindset, which is the thing that was foundation of everything, the right mindset, and then, leveraging networking as well, mentorships and coaching, as well to help you with your integration. And then the culture, understanding the culture will definitely help you with your integration. So, thank you guys. I'm seeing all your thanks. I appreciate you. And I hope it will help for a lot of you guys. On that note, I'll say bye. Thank you so much, Imole. And of course, we'll be talking later for sure. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the afternoon.
Awesome. Thank you, Anna. Bye, everyone.
Bye.